So here's the extra, the turbo outside, so a bit of oil there, but it seems kind of dry, and it's a bit dry here, so it's oh, I have the cartridge, and I'll show it. I have the cartridge anyway, so I've already really have a video how to replace this cartridge. You can see here that's a lot more in depth how to do that, but first is to remove the inlet and the outlet oil line. So we have to remove that gasket because it's not entirely, I have a different gasket, and this is a kind of a metal gasket. I don't really have a metal gasket, so I'll replace that one with a different gasket. So the next step is, so you can see these needs to be squeezed. There is a ring around here, so this needs to be, I'm trying to see how it can be seen. Yeah, these two kind of squeezed and this removed from, separated from that. I mean, for the other video it's a lot more explanation, so you need these circlip pliers. So I bought this 6 inches US Pro, but that's not entirely good, and I filed this, but I have this in the other video. I have a lot more explanation. So basically you kind of squeeze, put this in, and kind of squeeze it. Until they squeeze, and then you can kind of release, but it seems to be a bit stuck. There we go. From one side and from the other, require quite a bit of effort, but that's kind of removed. I have to guide it to come out. Thing like that. There we go. The one more important thing, there is an edge. There is an edge around here that goes like that, and the edge slides underneath here. That's where here it's quite flat, but the edge is kind of filed. There is a bit of an edge. So next thing is really to separate that one from that one with a slight hammer on the body here. Actually, like that. Only very, very slightly, not really that much hammering. There we go. I kind of it's almost out. There's just a bit. There is a bit of just dirt here and there. There we go. So my camera cut a bit there. So there is a bit of a deposit on this one, so I have to kind of remove that one. I have another gasket. So next thing is really to clean that. One thing to check is that this is really smooth. This surface is really smooth, where the propeller is rotating. The same with the exhaust side. So basically where this so there is so it goes like that a bit. I don't want to really push it too much because it's a bit difficult to get out. So basically that surface one has to check that is quite smooth and there isn't any cuts and so on. So next, cleaning that. So here it's really washed. I washed it with soapy water as well, inside and out, and it's overnight, so it's actually quite dry. So this is the oil return, and this is the ring. So I really spent the time for this to be quite smooth as possible. It's not entirely. There is still a few bits and pieces, but I try to make it as smooth as possible because this will slide underneath and it will hold. So one thing you have to really make sure that this is really smooth and it's not scorched from the propeller, hasn't hit it. So it has to be actually smooth, and then you can reuse it, otherwise you have to buy a new one. So there is some kind of a tarnish around here, so I try to clean it to the best I can. So it's probably some reaction with the aluminium, I'm not too sure. But that seems alright, we'll see how it fits. This one I removed the gasket and try to clean it, so it's really kind of a smooth surface. And this is the actual turbo. This is from the gasket. I mean, it seems actually alright. So if I can shine, there isn't really any oil coming out here. This was slightly on the, so there is a bit of oil on this propeller, so probably is slipping a bit of oil down probably here. I'm not too sure. That's how I think it slips a bit of oil around here, and then compresses it and burns it when it's cold. When it's warm, it doesn't do it anymore because this expands, the seal expands and so on. So you have to remove that one. So now for the new turbo. So this is really the new turbo. It's called Nering's. It comes with a let's see this thing after. So it comes. It's really well packaged. This is a kind of a foamy thing that goes on top on the turbo. It's got certification. I'll look at those after. Another one of these, and this is how the turbo came. It's actually and this is a soft material underneath, so the turbo kind of goes inside like that, and it's actually really quite well packaged, extremely well packaged, and it's got a seal that goes for the oil return, fits on there. So it's actually really extremely well packaged. Extremely well packaged. It's got these two that go on there. So because there is oil inside, not to be dry. I mean, it's quite oily. It's quite oily everywhere. So that's actually good. Spins actually quite good. I mean, you expect so. This is balanced from Nering's. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I bought it from eBay. So all the description of these components are in the description of the video, so you can actually check which exactly turbo that is. So this is the cut bit. So I already said in the how to replace that one, the cartridge. You can find in the description of the video. I already have a whole video, so this is just a quick go around. So put it actually inside. So this is the actual booklet that came with Nering's. So this is rotational speed, RPM on the x-axis, and I suspect this is vibration or something on the y-axis, and it says it's passed. So this was 2016, currently it's 2020, so it's been like produced 2 years ago, but that's probably alright. So I don't know, these are probably what is allowed, and this is what the green, it doesn't really say what's what, but I suspect this is the, because this is too straight, this is what the turbo, this turbo is, it's well below any of these, and this is what is allowed. I suspect, maybe I should probably send them an email, ask them what all these mean. Yeah, but that's quite good to know that there isn't much vibration, so I suspect that's some sort of a vibration test. Next thing is it's a booklet with it's a warranty, and it's actually quite good, several languages, so there is an English. It's actually pretty decent explanation, shows different things, how to replace it, the different connection, how to put oil inside the turbo cartridge and so on. So it's actually quite good booklet. But what I'd really like to do is put some more oil inside and rinse it if there are any kind of particles inside. So really have a to towel. This is what I'm using in my car, 5W30 quarts in LECS. So I've poured some in a cup, and I have a syringe, so I can put some oil inside, shake it, drop it, do this several times, so in order to kind of clean it in any particles inside, small bits, kind of to clean it. But one has to be rather careful not to introduce any more. So once this is done, I'll put those back on. So this is really this is the top of the turbo. So the top it just has a yeah, I'm not too sure it can be seen. It has a small dot that goes, and it goes on the oil goes on the shaft. So I'll put oil there until it, because this is locked, so until it kind of fills, and then I'll open this and spit it out. So let's see if I can plug it in that hole. Yeah, this goes inside. A bit, maybe. You have to, of course, rotate a bit, so the oil, so the shaft gets from this oil, it's lubricated. So I'll put a lot of oil in there, rinse it, and then spill it back. Actually, I don't need a syringe, so I can pour the whole thing in there. I don't need a needle, I mean not the syringe. The syringe I need. So it shouldn't really drop from underneath, so I can rotate a bit for the shaft to get oil. Okay, that's nearly actually full. The whole thing is nearly full, so I'll tip it over, and that's actually if there any debris. So I'll do this once more time. If there any debris inside, it can come out, but it's unlikely. So I'll tip it and then actually put these back on after, so nothing can come out. So I've washed this up a couple of times. It's still oily everywhere around, but that's actually all right. I mean, it's not the end of the day. Once the engine starts, it will eventually burn this oil. It's not the end of the day. You can't quite clean it. So next thing is really to put it. So I kept the two plastic tabs. Don't really remove them. So not really any debris can come in the turbo. So next thing, I've cleaned this one. So there is only one way. There is a pin here, and there is a cut. There is a cut in the turbo around here, so it can go only one way. So like that. It can go only a single way. I'm not trying to push it. There we go. So to make sure that this spins, it kind of spins all right. And next thing is to put. Let's turn it around. Next thing is to put this. This is probably kind of in the way. To put this ring that holds it into place. So one thing really. So one thing, make sure there is an O-ring around here, and this is there is oil on that ring. Otherwise, it won't work. So let's put it again. And there is this kind of semi circlip, circlip. So this is really flat at the back, and here there is an edge. So this goes like that. So this edge kind of goes underneath there. So let's put that one in, and it has to go around this hole. So these, as I said, these are not these circlip pliers. I mean, if you buy the bigger size, because they don't quite reach, so I can't quite squeeze. But I've got a set of pliers that I can kind of squeeze and put inside. So let's see how this will go. Okay, so that's kind of in. Extend this a bit. So I put it inside. I haven't entirely quite put it inside, but it's kind of semi outside everywhere. So what I need to do is now slightly with a screwdriver hammer it so it kind of goes underneath. So this will be really not just a gentle taps, not really hammer it too much. So start from that side here, although probably it's not that crucial where one starts. Just a so this really completely went inside. This hasn't yet, so I have to try to hammer that one. But it's slightly on one side. The propeller is kind of on one side, so it's probably slightly. So it's on one side, so it's probably slightly touching. But hopefully that will be all right. So I have to kind of hammer from that side to kind of go inside. Yeah, so that's kind of go inside and it rotates without, so that's kind of go inside. Slightly gone underneath and it's not entirely fully, but that side, so I can kind of stretch it now. But most importantly, you have to kind of hold it and see that it doesn't really, this is touching this plate here, so it's producing noise, but you have to make sure that it's not touching any of the sides inside. So you kind of have to look at all the gaps, and if it's touching anywhere, so there might be a bit of a slight touch there to the wall. So it hasn't entirely gone inside. So I'll try to stretch it a bit. But hammer it a bit more from that side, because that's the side that and kind of push that side as well. So basically I'm hitting here and a bit from that side to go kind of inside. I'm just trying to see what the gaps are. It's actually alright. Maybe I'll hammer it just a bit more so it kind of really spreads around when you kind of rotate it. Really, you have to notice, follow one propeller. So like for example, follow that propeller, or it doesn't matter, just follow it around and see if the gap to the side is exactly even. So then you have to see where you need to hammer it a bit more. So you can see where it's touching more, so then you have to hit it a bit more, so it kind of the distance is really quite the same. So I hammered it in place, and it's nearly inside everywhere. So here it's quite underneath. So here it's sticking out a bit more than say for example here. Let me show. It's sticking, for example, here more, but that's how the design is. So it kind of here it's the edge goes only slightly, and when I rotate it, it doesn't really touch any of the sides. So that's actually quite important, not to touch any of the sides. So next thing is to hook up the return. So this is the small gasket that comes from the Nering's kit. It's actually perfect. It's a bit, it's just a semi-paper kind of type thing. So hopefully that will work. If it slips a bit, I might replace it eventually, but that should be actually alright. Let's see how this should go. I think it should go that way. I can stick it like that and then push it inside. It's kind of easier. Okay, so for that, I don't know, there is no torque, but I'll just do it by hand quite tight. And this is H5, kind of 6-sided. Probably roughly about 15-16 Newton meters, but the gasket is there, so that's actually all right. And I really stick aluminium foil on that one. And let me probably I'll put that one in, but I'll put aluminium foil around. Next thing is really to fit it in the car.